Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing tips and football tips for Saturday, the 13th of September. Well, I'm going to get straight into it, but it looks like there's been plenty of rain overnight, and I think it's going to ride much slower than they've actually forecast because they have changed the ground slightly. There are non-runners coming out. Keep your eye on your bets at Chester and Doncaster. I think there's been significant rain at Chester. It's changed while I've been picking my bets from good to soft. I think it's slower than that, but we'll see. They may well change it after the first race. But I'm going to show you the weather that they've had at Chester. But as I said, here are the selections for Saturday, the 13th of September. So far, it's a 15 pence each way, lucky 63. Therefore, there are 6 selections. Just a quick heads up. I haven't backed them, but I'm looking at Joe Fanning. He's got 3 rides at Musselburgh. He's got 2 short ones, roughly around 2-1 they were last night. Both are worth a bit of interest. And if people like a treble, he's got Wadacre, I believe it's Wadacre Gomez at 7-1. But for those that like the shorter ones, Joe Fanning at Musselburgh is very difficult to beat. But let's get on to the main selections. So as I said, there will be football selections as well. They will be in the description and the first comment from 10 a.m. What I will also say is, you may have seen my recent videos about the Paddy Power complaint, the Skybet complaint. There are numerous complaints. There is a NatWest complaint. There is payday loan complaint. There is a debt purchasing complaint. There is a NatWest complaint. If you want to follow the videos, you haven't got to put a comment if you don't want to. I understand the embarrassment people may feel, but to be fair, I don't care. They do have a responsibility towards us, even though it is us pressing submit. They have a responsibility and a social and a duty of care. People can say as much as they want, well, you should have done this, you should have done that. Yes, I'm also highlighting that they should have done that, and they have received huge fines recently. All across the board, all the companies that I've mentioned have received huge fines recently for not following UKGC, IBAS. I think it's ADR. There are several organisations, regulatory organisations that they are supposed to adhere to. A random safer gambling email is not enough. A pop-up is not enough. So if you would like further videos, I'm not going to bombard you, but further videos, just like this video. Nobody knows who's liked the videos, including myself. So let me get into today's selections. You can ask questions as well if you want. 15 pence each way, lucky 63. So the first one is Galaron at 7-1, and these are all best odds guaranteed. It's in the 115 at Doncaster. So this horse, I think it's reasonably weighted. The trainer, Charles Hills, is his stable are running into a little bit of form. They've not done a great deal all season. They've had the odd winner, but nothing outstanding, nothing crazy. But I think they're just coming to form at the right time. Barry Hills always did well at the northern tracks, York and Doncaster. That's his father or dad. So this horse was also trained by Charles Hills as a juvenile. It was mainly campaigned on soft ground. However, it was then, I think it went to Australia and never did a great deal. It's come back under the and is now trained again by Charles Hills. But it's had a bit of an in and out campaign. It's only had about half a dozen runs, but it's also ran on good to firm, which I don't quite get that when they campaigned it as a youngster. It ran okay-ish on good to firm, but it's back on slower ground. And I think in this competitive race, it's got every chance. It's currently the second favourite, but 7-1. I think it's a decent enough price. I think it's got an obvious chance. I do believe it's Colin Keane on board, so it's not a day out. Decent jockey on board. So the next selection is in the 225 at Doncaster. It is Jordan Electrics at 11-1. Well, with how it finished its race at York last time, I won't say it looked legless. It seemed to like roll to the line. I don't think it finished well. So therefore, that kind of gives me the impression that it's not being aimed at any of the 6 furlong races at Ayr. I think this Doncaster relatively straightforward. I think it's 5.5 furlong. I'm not sure, 5.5 furlong. I think it's right up its street. So yesterday they came near side a little bit more. They've had rain since. I'd like to think the near side is even better, or the draw bias is even more pronounced. We'll see, but it is drawn 20. I do like the look of the Tim. It used to be, I think it's called 1,000 to 1. However, it's ridiculously well handicapped on the turf compared to the all-weather, but that's for a reason. But it just always gives you that little bit of doubt that it could pop up at a decent price. If you're looking at high numbers, there are a number at decent prices drawn high. So I'll leave that with you, but I've gone for Jordan Electrics. And unfortunately, in the same colours, it looked like Falak was fatally injured. It is fatally injured. I looked at the form the other day, and it's a bit gutting really, because backed it a number of times. Yeah, a bit gutting really. So Falak no longer with us, unfortunately. So the next selection. So I've gone to Chester now. Excuse me. I've gone to Chester now because I think I'm going to show you the amount of rainfall that they've had. And you tell me if it's changed from good to soft. So this is currently Doncaster, you can see, but I'm going to change it to Chester. So that's currently at 8:45. So from where my marker is, I'm going to have to go in backwards in half an hour increments. Look, especially, I think it's for about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So this is 8:15. Bear in mind, Chester is there where the map marker is. 7:55, 7:35, 7:15, 6:55, 6:35, 6:15, 5:55, 5:35, 5:15. What's that coming over the hill? You can't see it in picture at the moment, but you're about to see an absolute deluge. 4:55, 4:35, 4:15. Ooh. 3:55 a.m. 3:35, 3:15, 2:55, 2:35, 2:15, 1:55. You kind of get the gist. So overnight, there were huge amounts of rain knocking about. Well, we don't know exactly how much rain they got. They might tell us, but I think it's a lot more than good to soft. It went from good to soft now. Bearing in mind, it was good to soft in places yesterday. So I think it's a lot slower than they're saying. So I've gone for horses that ideally like the slower ground, but I've tried to go for horses that race prominently. However, I can't not back this horse. It's Gibbside at 16-1 in the 240 at Chester. This horse doesn't race prominently. However, it does run well at Chester and on slow ground. I've looked at this race, and there are a number of horses that have not encountered bad ground. I'm going under the premise that it is bad ground. I think the rain probably backs it up. It was good to soft in places yesterday. They've changed it to good to soft. I think that's too much rain on the radar just for a slight change. I think you're going to see worse than soft. I may be wrong, but I think the only way you're going to get that edge is if you probably apply your own factors to it. I think there's more rain. So Gibbside has ran very well in the past after a 7-day break. It ran well, I believe it was at Carlisle, where it came second. Then it hacked up at York 7 days later. Well, Gibbside, it runs after a 6-day absence. So I think it may strip fitter. It may prefer these recent runs or quick turnouts. But it ran 6 days ago. The last time I saw it win at Chester, I saw it sat last, and I thought, are they trying on this? It was absolutely cantering, but it was a long way behind. And then again, it a nudge, Joran Fenterman did, and it won easy. It's only off a £2 higher mark this time around than when it won then. Apparently, it was good ground then. It looked a bit hard work, but it's whatever you think it is today. I think it's soft or worse. So that's Gibbside at 16-1. The next selection is a bit of a risky proposition. I've gone for Crackshot at 14-1 in the 4 o'clock at Chester. I've put this horse through ChatGPT. So let me just show you some of this. So this is what I typed in ChatGPT. I don't want to adjust the screen, but I shall read it to you. Based on all the horse racing bloodlines and information you have available to you, tell me what trip and possible track or even tactics a 5-year-old gelding of these bloodlines would be optimal. Give me as much information as possible on which type of headgear would bring out the best in it. This is the breeding, so you can see the breeding. I've pasted it in Kingman, Twitch, and Azamore. I'm not going to go on too much because it gives quite a bit of information. So, snapshot: Kingman himself was a superstar miler with an electric turn of foot. His progeny often excel over 7 to 10 furlongs. Bearing in mind this horse Crackshot, it's not done a great deal over 1 mile 2 furlongs so far. It's only ran 2 or 3 times, but it's back up to 1 mile 2 for a new trainer. It's had 3 trainers so far, but James Owen is very dangerous with these well handicapped horses that he acquires. His progeny often excel over 7 to 10 furlongs. They usually have class and acceleration, but stamina tops out around 1 mile 2. Many Kingmen prefer a bit of cut in the ground, but you do get some quicker ground types. Now looking at the dam. Twitch was a 10 furlong plus filly, tough and stayed well. Her sire, Azamore, was a top 10 to 12 furlong horse known for stamina and versatility. So let's just... Right, Azamore blood can add a strong staying influence, relishing 1 mile 2 to 1 mile 4. Likely trip, distance sweet spot. The Kingman speed and the Azamore. So the Kingman, a mile to mile 2. The Azamore, a mile 2 to a mile 4. At 5-year-olds gelded, physical maturity means stamina is fully developed, so you would expect 1 mile 2 to be the optimal trip. Could stretch to 12 furlong, which is 1 mile 4 on a galloping track, if ridden cold, but I don't buy that. Would still have enough tactical pace for a short mile if dropped in. Best trip 10 furlong with flexibility either way depending on ground and tactics. It does kind of contradict what I'm going for because it does actually quote just here that stop-start tracks like Chester, unless dropped in and ridden for luck. Well, no, I don't buy that. They've got first-time visor on today. I actually think, and they haven't got a great jaw, I think this horse has got no choice apart from being a quick kick in the belly, go straight to the front. The visor's there to keep it switched on. There's a lot of horses in behind that don't want the softer ground. There's a lot of horses with questionable form. I think if this horse goes straight to the front, I think you're going to see the best version of this horse. So I'm going for this horse being kicked in the belly and asking questions of all the other horses. And I think it'll stay. So that's Crackshot at 14 to 1, 4 o'clock at Chester. The next selection is a risky one. It's Pause for Thought at 9 to 1 in the 4:35 at Chester. Pause for Thought won this race off of, I believe it was 85 last year, and won it easy by making all on heavy ground at Chester. This year it reappears £11. It's off a mark of 74. However, the doubt is it didn't pull up, but it finished, I think it said lame on off 4 or something like that. That doesn't really help me. But that was a month ago. I think it was at Carlisle on good firm ground on over 7 furlongs. I think in this plum draw of 1, if this horse gets out, goes straight to the front, this could be very difficult to catch. Fingers crossed, basically. But it is a horse that has got loads of pace. I've seen this horse absolutely tear it up for 3 furlongs, be absolutely miles clear, and it looked like it was cantering. I think the jockey even knew that, and it was just run down towards the finish. I think this horse, I won't say if it's back to its best, because I think it's a 7-year-old, but if this horse is in the same kind of form as last year's race, it's £11 lower, it's got to have a chance. And finally, in the St Ledger, I've gone for further at 12 to 1 in the 3:40 at Doncaster. So I can only go for Andrew Baldwin. He's had a cracking season, or a decent season. Machine Murphy, always in the spotlight. I just think it put up a very good performance last time. They are paying 3 places in a 7-runner field. In my opinion, the fancied runners are class horses. But in my opinion, there is no form on slower ground. This horse has only ran once on soft ground. I think it was as a 2-year-old. So that's not a great deal to go on. I'm going on the fact that it ran an absolute cracker last time, huge performance improvement, and I'm hoping there's also significant improvement again. Andrew Baldwin is extremely shrewd when there's big prizes knocking around. I just think it's worth a go. 12 to 1. I think it's a crazy price. Don't get me wrong, you've got Aidan O'Brien with a strong hand. You've got Peter Omi with also the obvious alternative, but I just think there are still too many. It might not even be a fast pace. I just don't know. I just think that Ashim Murphy, very tactically astute, jockey, could at least run a place. And I think if I'm backing Ashim Murphy in a 7-runner field at 12 to 1, 3 places, I just think it's the value. So, as I said, the football bets will be in the description below. There will be slightly more football bets than normal because I've only put what is it, £18.90. So I'm probably gonna have another £15 on the football because you may have noticed I've only had a couple of bets this week. So we'll like a bit of a blast on a Saturday. The next video will probably be a response video from the emails I've been getting. I have been having requests from the bookmakers for ID, which I've had to send for a subject access request to get all their information that they hold about me in my account. This is getting very interesting. ChatGPT is actually, I've asked it for an unbiased conclusion in these cases, and it seems quite favourable. So I will give you, unless I'm asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement, I will be doing a full tutorial on how everybody can do this with every single firm that I've done this to. You've got absolutely nothing to lose. All I would say is if you have decent bets in accounts and you're planning on doing this, you will have to do it at your own risk or cash out the bets, but we'll get to that when we come to it. So if you give me a like, the more likes on this video, I'll keep you updated about the cases against these other bookmakers. So I wish you the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.